What? Good evening, my brothers and sisters. I want to thank you for coming out tonight. Good evening, my brothers and sisters. I want to let you know it's going to be all right. It's that time of week again. Are you guys ready to break the internet for the best television party in the industry? Positive Party 2023. Welcome to TCB Studios, Puerto Rico. I want to thank our sponsors, Sandy D, Kelly and Michelle from Death Pickles. A special shout out goes out to D Nice and DJ Miowski holding it down, TCB Studios, Atlanta. We want to jump right in. We want to dive right in. We want to go for a ride. We want to burn it down. Positive Party. Rick Ammerman, I met a few months ago at a rock and roll show. The best place to meet somebody in the world. We hit it off immediately. Found out that we have a lot of things in common. He decided to jump on, and we've developed this friendship, and we text each other, and he's been giving me ideas from behind the scenes to help us with the show, to help it grow. We talk about the goods, the bads, the ups and downs, and all arounds. He's an amateur poker player. He's a dog lover. He's a music fan. He's just a badass, and he's become a brother and a friend of mine. And Yaworski, shout out to Yaworski, my sister, beep, beep, and producer and director. Let's bring Rick on, and then let's bring Renee on. Bucket of fish, bucket of fish, bucket of fish. Rick Ammerman.
What's up, y'all?
Oh my goodness! And wait a minute. Let me take a look at that. Are you wearing a New York Mets shirt?
Yes, I know. Maybe some of our Atlanta friends might not like that, but I know you're a New York guy and also a Mets fan.
I
So
am a Mets fan. Yes.
living in the South, we don't get to wear Mets stuff very often because we pretty much lose all the time. So I thought this was like one occasion I could break it out.
We were texting back in the background, and you were like, "Yeah, man, I never get to wear the shirt that often. Plus, the Mets suck." And I wrote, you are not lying." But I do have a couple of funny stories regarding the Mets. One is I learned how to curse at Met games. My dad used to take me to Shea Stadium, and I remember being like a little kid, and like my mom would be sleeping, and I'd be playing with my toys, and I'd be like riding like G.I. Joe Jeeps over my mom's like leg while she's sleeping. I'd be like, "Joe, let's kill those motherfuckers. Let's do this, let's do that." And my mom's like, "What are you doing?" And my dad's like, "Oh, those are just things that he heard at the Met game the other day."
Yeah, I've actually only been to one Mets game, and it was the last year of Shea Stadium, so it was either 2008 or 9.
Yes, because now
And
it's City Field, correct?
yeah, and
Yes.
they played the Pirates and they lost 13-1, and it was like 9-1 at the bottom of the second inning. So the only game I've ever been to was a complete disaster, but it was
Sounds about right, but that's an exciting game. I basically stopped watching the game as a fanatic a long time ago, so I enjoy watching every game. When I was doing the jobs building NBC in San Diego, I went to see the Padres at Petco Stadium play the Mets. I saw them play the Pirates. I saw them play the Braves. It's just wonderful to go out, have a $20 beer and a $20 hot dog and watch America's pastime.
yeah, the $20 beer for sure. I think I've spent more on beer and food than I did the ticket to the game. So
Totally. Yeah, I want to give another shout out to Jesse Seipel because I had such a wonderful conversation with you last week, my man. Everyone check out his show, Radical Metal. It's really awesome. We got to get you on there as a guest. He's just awesome, and I guess that's how we're going to start things off. First things first. You and I met at a rock show. We talked about that, and we're going to get into it. I know you probably want to give a shout out to some of your fans that are watching right now because, you're this shy guy, but we've gotten to know each other, and I've met some of your fans online, and you just got this awesome presence, man. You're a beautiful dude who throws out nothing but beautiful vibes and positivity. Your sister and just your friends, they love it, and I love watching it. So the floor is yours, bucket of fish.
okay, well, I appreciate the kind words and everything. I did want to give a shout out to a few people. I know I could talk for probably 2 hours just about why these people I'm shouting them out, but I'll just say their names. They'll probably know why. First, my sister, Angela Collins, she's watching right now. Amanda Blackman, Kelly Hester, Michelle Hester, Autumn Shealy, Jason Riley, Seth Moore, Jesse Seipel, Kirkland Keene, Melissa Fuentes, and my beautiful wife, Alexis Ammerman. So I just want to shout those people out. They know why. But yeah, I love all those guys and girls. And, I met you mainly because of a lot of people on that list right there. So
Yeah, I was going to say, so we met through Amanda, who was awesome. Shout out Amanda. And we were going to see our friends at Mastodon play. And it was this lovely, it was just an awesome night of heavy rock and roll, but it was just an awesome night of conversation and us all building each other up. And that's what kind of leads us into how you and I got involved on this show, because you reached out to me and you said, man, I go through it. I've had some depressions. I've had some anxieties. And next thing you know, I'm saying to you, well, why don't you come on the show? Let's talk about this stuff.
Yeah, it's and sometimes with anxiety and stuff, you kind of just have to step out of your shell or you'll miss out on stuff. I can't say how many times, like just going to concerts and stuff, everybody pretty much on that list, except for the family members, I didn't know prior to maybe 6 months ago. And so
Right.
just sometimes you just have to step out and live life, even if it feels a little uncomfortable and you don't really know what's going to happen. And I've met some amazing people, just from doing
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. We need to trust the process. For the most part, now we do know that there are some horrible people in the world, but for the most part, most people are really good. And especially when it comes around that they're involved in a community where they want to build each other up, and there's music and art and again, camaraderie and community involved. Everyone really has the same feelings towards goodness and faith and positivity. And so for the most part, I think you're going to do really well. But the problem is we spend all this time in our head, and I'm like, oh man, I'm nervous. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And then you find out, oh, 7 of my friends went by themselves as well, and I could have hung out with them, and it would have been a brilliant evening. And I also would have met this person who I've been wanting to meet forever or whatever. And it's like, even with me on this trip here to Puerto Rico, I was talking a little bit about it last week, and I got so much in my head the 2 weeks before my trip, and I was a mess. And then right now, I got to say, it's going pretty good. So again, welcome to TCB Studios in Puerto Rico.
Thank you for having me.
I'm super stoked to have you. Let's bring Renee on and let's start this positivity party. Bucket of fish, Renee Jaworski.
Hello, hello. Hi, guys.
So this just proves that friendship and community and brotherhood and sisterhood. A friend of mine, Jake Schultz, I ran into right before I left, a talented musician and artist who I like Renee, I don't see enough. I bump into him once every 3 years. And luckily I met him, I bumped into him right like the day before I flew to Puerto Rico. But he reminded me of the saying that he gave to me as a gift about 10 years ago. And I'm the one who's a mess. I forgot it, but now I'm using it all the time. And he said, love expands. And I absolutely love that. I used it in a note to Renee the other day.
Yep. That's right. Yeah, I think that one of the misconceptions that we get in society is that if you love, then people get jealous and they try to stop you from loving more people. My experience is the more we love, the more we can love. So everybody wins. Like the people closest to us should want us to love other people around us. That makes us better lovers.
Well, the thing is here, and this is what this show is about, and this party is about, is unfortunately, even when they mean well, some people just, there's too many other things going on in their head, and it's their insecurities and the jealousies. I don't think anyone here has that, but it's a damn shame when someone should just, like I said, trust the process and go with it. I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like when I posted my goings away, because I literally March of 2020 went to Atlanta, which I thought was going to be for 3 weeks, just to get out of New York, because I thought it was going to be this part-time thing with the pandemic. Well, I wound up being there for 3 years. It's insane. And I had mixed feelings about it, even though I have so many lovely friends in Atlanta. Overall, I'm so excited and thrilled I went. I met Renee, and I started the show, and so many wonderful things happened. And the thing is people just need to stop and like let it breathe and let it blossom and let it bloom. And if you don't like the way it's going, then you have every right to walk away from it.
Absolutely. I want to hear what Rick has to say to that, because he was responding.
Yes, I do.
Are you just talking about just the positive energy, or
we're talking about? I guess we're talking about us and relationships as well. I mean, what do you think, Renee?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is I posted a thing on my Facebook. Tom, you might have seen it. Is that at the top, people collaborate; at the bottom, people compete.
Yes,
And
I saw that. That was wonderful.
Yeah, and that's what we're all about here at TCB Studios and at Cosmos. And I think, Rick, when you did all your shout outs, there's a certain type of person who would not have donated part of their airtime to other people. You chose to do that. Tom chooses to do that. What is it about you? Like, what do you think when it comes to success? If you're talking to a teenager who wants to come up in the business, or wants to be an artist, wants to be anything, what would you tell him? Why is it so important to make other people elevated?
Yeah, that was so impressive and thoughtful, Rick.
Yes, it was.
Well, I just think the positive energy and giving credit to where it's due. I don't think anybody makes it in any field without having somebody look out for you or helping you out along the way. I'm in IT, and I had a guy named Dr. Sammy Young that let me shadow him. I really didn't know anything about the field. And after work every day, I would go shadow him for like an hour, help him out with anything he needed help with. He would answer all my questions. And he encouraged me. He was like, every time you do something, write it down on a piece of paper, because you know, you don't have any experience in this field, but I'm giving you experience right now. Write this task down that you just did. And so before I knew it, I had 30 things on my resume just from hanging out, you know, not even really working, just shadowing this guy. So yeah, anybody, you know, any young person that you can help out that way, you know, this is a very positive thing. So
I love that. I love that. And never forget, you know, and the three of us talking, I love this conversation. The three of us, I think, are good at this. I'm a big fan of that. Never forget, like, even where I'm at, you know, in my career outside of music and art, I work behind the scenes in broadcasting. And Brian Kinchelow is the one who gave me my opportunity in about 2015. And I was in New York City, and I was working behind the scenes doing commercials. And he said, come out to California and help me build the studio. And I never forget, I said, I don't really know anything about that field, that side of things. And he said, you're absolutely right, Tom, you're absolutely right. And I guarantee there's guys that are on the scene there who've been doing it 25, 30 years that will wipe the floor with you. But also they're curmudgeons and they're angry and they're jaded now. You're so positive. You're a team player. You're really good at being communicative. You know how to follow the rules. You're going to come in and learn, and you got this brain that's a sponge. And I have a feeling you within 6 months will be killing it. And he gave me an opportunity, and that's so. Thank you, B. Kinch. You know, and I've given that opportunity since to people that I can help, and it feels wonderful. Well, that's the thing about our community. We talk about it all the time in rock and roll and heavy metal and punk rock, shit, in art and poetry. It's pay it forward, because we're believers in that. It's community.
Yeah, and don't you think being musicians, and I came out of punk rock, I know Tom, you came out of punk rock, you know, Rick, you can talk a little bit, but don't you think rock and roll is really about sitting at the feet of the elders and then hearkening back to the elders? And really, I spent a lot of times as a young musician just literally at the feet of people that I respected who were much older than I was, asking them questions and then silently just imbibing all of their wisdom. I think that's kind of part of the art world, right, Rick? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's true in any field, though. You want to seek wisdom from those that have been around. You know, you may see a guy, he's just working, but you need to talk to him if it's something that you're interested in. Just mention, hey, do you mind if I tag along? Or, you know, I'm interested in this. I'd like to see what you know about it.
This is coming from a badass, beautiful, humble, husband, dog lover, who's
Yeah.
got gorgeous guitars behind him.
Yeah,
A New York Met-
beautiful.
I
Hey,
think
you
a
want to say,
New York Mets shirt on. I see some rock and roll posters in the
There we
background.
go.
Look at you.
There we
Oh,
go.
I know. Look.
That's what we like to see.
That's Teaspoon.
Oh my goodness. So yes, and you told me how you got the name Teaspoon.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for your loss from your
Yeah.
dear friend. You know, I've heard that quote like 4 or 5 times lately, and it's dogs are like humans, only better. And I couldn't agree more because dogs don't do things to you that a lot of humans do. But
They don't
Absolutely.
talk back to you.
but this show is about being positive, so we're not going to get into that.
Yeah, they don't really talk back to you. They just basically listen to you and love on you. And
Oh, they're the best. They're the best. Well, actually, one more thing I wanted to say, I told you backstage in our virtual green room, is that I have so many Met stories, and I just want to tell one more. And literally, it kind of explains the way I feel, because how I approach things is this simple thing. I remember being like 10 years old on my block, and I got beat up, certainly in Queens, New York, and like. I knew I didn't like the Yankees. I knew I liked the Mets, whatever. But I asked my dad. I go, Pops, what's the difference between the Mets and the Yankees? And he said it this simply. He goes, and I'm sorry to anyone. I have very good friends that are Yankees fans. So, but anyway, my dad goes, Yankees fans are conceited.
Yeah.
Mets fans are the underdog. And I go, I'm a Met fan.
Yep.
And
Well, the
I
Yankees
used to
win
live-
too much. The Yankees win too much. I mean, it's
No,
like
no,
ridiculous,
yeah,
you know?
Jay-Z said it best. He goes, it's the most popular ball cap in the world. I mean, any
Yeah,
country you go to, you
literally.
recognize it. You don't recognize a Met hat anywhere. But
Mhm.
anyway, taking that back, I believe we're all underdogs. And the show is about positive,
Mhm.
paying it forward, that positivity, and even turning around the negative, and also what we do. And it's being there for the underdogs and seeing like from our friends who maybe aren't in the right place, and we just try to like, laughter is a drug as well, and we try to like get people high on that stuff.
Yeah, I can kind of add a little bit on that. I think we're all pretty active on social media and stuff. Sometimes you'll see a friend posting some kind of weird stuff late at night, and maybe they're not getting any kind of reactions or anything. Sometimes I'll reach out to somebody like that. I'm like, this guy, he's going through something. Let me just shoot him a message. Hey, man, everything good? You need to chat or anything?
Right.
And I've had, some good feedback from just doing that. But
Yeah, that's so thoughtful of you as well. And by the way, we've just got to know each other recently, and you've just met Renee, but I love how close you've become. But you've done that to me even, and I actually try to keep myself on guard. Uh, the things I put on social media usually are positive songs that made my day, positive
Mhm.
pictures or quotes that made my day, or me promoting a show that I'm doing, because that's what I have to do as an artist and a musician, because it only helps when people come out. But other than that, and I've told you this because we've hung out personally, I actually, and Renee knows this certainly about me, is I keep my private life very, very private. But once in a while, still those things get through the cracks and you get to know people. And I've had both of you go, hey, man, I can read between the lines. What's going on? You okay? And I want to thank you both for doing that.
Absolutely. The opposite of addiction is not sobriety, it's community. Like they've proven that when people are socially connected, they are less likely to have all kinds of problems, including addiction. And people who
Right.
study longevity, the number one predictor of how long you will live, that you will live a long and healthy life, is being socially connected. So when you reach out to another human being, you're actually medically enhancing their life in
Oh my
addition
goodness.
to emotionally.
See you kids out there in CCTV land.
You learn something new every day.
Every Monday night, 9 p.m. This is the place to be. You know what I'm saying? In CCTV land, you're learning stuff, because my mind is blown right now.
It's true. It's so true. So get socially connected. And like Rick said, if you see someone struggling online, you just send a text, just send a DM, just check in on somebody, because
Yeah.
you might be the only person to talk to them directly in a very long time.
And I've had people say that to me, and it does. Well, actually, I wish it didn't come down to that, but I've had someone reach out to me. Like I bumped into someone recently, and I was like, "Man, good to see you," because the last time I saw you, it was, things weren't good and this and that. And then I reached out, and they said, "Well, listen, believe me, that did not go unnoticed. I think in many ways, you kind of slapped me into a good reality, and you kind of saved me, for a minute that night, And I'm like, well, thank you. But I wish you would have told me that night, because I didn't sleep for 2 days. I was worried about you,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I also had, I said that I reached out to people when I saw them in need, but I actually had a really good friend named Daniel Waldron that did the same for me. When I lost my good friend Teaspoon roughly 5 years ago, it was a really bad time for both of us. We were all Army buddies. That's how I knew my friend Teaspoon and also Daniel. But me and him, we kind of lifted each other up, and man, he really pulled me through. So Daniel,
shout out to shout out to Daniel, and much love to Teaspoon. And shout out again to your wife and your sister and your dear friends, because we appreciate getting to know you and seeing like this beautiful thing that you're made of, and it all has to do with these people.
Yeah, I mean, we got to lift each other up. That's all there is to it, And I think too, online, especially in this day, there's a lot of negativity and a lot of competition, even just commenting on a post. And I've gotten carried away with it sometimes where, you'll try to one up the guy that's arguing with you and stuff. And I finally got to the point where I just try to not get involved in that stuff, because you never come out looking good. Because the longer you argue and keep trying to one up the other person, somebody in your friends list is going to see that, and they're going to be like, what is this guy doing? So I've definitely been there and trying to wash my hands of it. So if anybody sees me doing that, shoot me a hey Rick, man, comment down a little bit or something, because I do get wrapped up in it a little bit, but I'm trying to get that out of my life.
Either Renee or I will send you a message. That's really funny, because I always try to post positive things. Like I certainly will be posting how high I will be after the show, because this is just wonderful, upbuilding conversation. I love the term, always build each other up, never tear each other down, But even me, I mean, I'm a big fan of things that are sardonic and sarcastic, and I can say things like I've made some post. I made a post the other day about how bad the CMA awards were, and they were really horrible, But then a friend of mine, Casey Price, shout out Casey, who I never see, and she's wonderful and just beautiful and so friendly, and she's always like, Tom, you're the most positive guy ever. And she texts me, she's like, you okay? I've seen you post like 3 negative things. What's going on? I go, no, I'm actually the happiest I've ever been in my life right now. Maybe that's why now I'm just spitting out some funny sarcasm,
The DJ Khaled one, man. When I saw that, I about fell out.
Yeah, that was the other thing, because I worked in the studio in New York City with a couple of friends on a few tracks a few years ago, and one of my friends was like, yeah, I actually just finished doing some tracks with, like, I'm sure he was very low on, he was in the studio as one of the helpers and one of the many engineers on some of the Beyonce tracks and stuff. And then it came down to conversation that he was doing something with this guy, DJ Khaled. And I go, and this is before he even got really big. So this is like 5 years ago. And I was like, I don't understand it. He goes, you will never understand it. He goes, people make the beats for him. They bring it in, and then he just screams his name over it.
I didn't know that.
DJ Khaled. Yeah.
Another one.
So another one.
I just saw it, and I was like, man, I don't care what anybody says. This dude sucks. And so many. Well, I guess because people are surprised, because I always say positive things. And I think Casey on that was like, damn, Tom, why are you being so negative?
I think that's what made it so funny, was because it was just kind of like out of left field.
Listen, another great thing is and I've said this a lot on the show, and I've said it to you both personally in conversation, and it's true. It's what my dad told me when I was 10 or 11 years old. He said, It's nice to be nice. But I was talking with my pops the other day, shout out Frankie Cutlass. And I was like, do you remember you used to tell me it's nice to be nice? He goes, yeah, but that's only the first part of the sentence that I told you. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? What was the rest of the sentence? And he said, like, he goes, like, you know, I sat you down and I said, it's nice to be nice. And it feels good to be good. And those two things, I don't care what happens, will never go out of style. And I was like, wow, you know, and it's like these little things that people tell you. You know, I was like 10 or 11 years old, and it really has become like karma is our religion. It's being good to people and paying it forward. And it's like, yeah, you're damn right. It's wonderful.
I wanted to let Rick respond. That's why I was being quiet.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with you on the karma thing.
I was about to start scratching. I was about to start cutting. Like chicka 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 chicka.
I was interested to see Rick's response.
I'm like, and next on the mic is my man Rick Ammerman. Like this, and just start cutting it up.
I think this is literally the first live stream I've ever been on. So
you are doing
wow.
great.
Okay, awesome.
So okay, I'm going to quote Robert De Niro to a very young Ray Liotta when he gets out of court in the beginning of Goodfellas. He goes, "Oh, you popped your cherry."
Yeah, that's
congratulations, Rick.
You're doing awesome, man. You're doing totally awesome.
You're doing wonderful. That's what we do. We tell people that they're awesome, and you are awesome.
Well, I appreciate it very much.
So what else you got for me? What else do you want to talk about? We shouted out Amanda. Amanda's awesome. I'm going to get Amanda back on the show after, because I know she's going to be going on the road, seeing some yes. And, shout out to, well, I got to hang out with Kelly and Michelle Death Pickles right before I left town, and they've become such wonderful friends and of mine and brothers and sisters. I actually spent 4th of July with them. We had a blast. Let's just say we walked in feeling good, and we wobbled out of there. We were having a good time.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely wanted to shout them out because, you know, when I came down to your show in Atlanta, I guess it was like the beginning of June. He invited me to crash at their place and everything. I got to hang out with him and Autumn and Michelle. You know, I didn't know anybody going down there, so I'm kind of like one of those things, you know, stepping out of your shell and just going for it. Of course, I knew you. I'd met you in Asheville. But you were going to be playing in the show, so I'm kind of like, I'm going to be kind of just standing against the wall by myself unless I reach out to somebody. So I kind of knew Kelly through the Macedon Mayhem group and stuff. I just messaged him. I was like, hey, are you going to be going to Tom's show? And we just started chatting, and he was like, yeah, man, come hang out. We got a place for you to stay and everything. So I really appreciate them.
They're the best, and Kelly is awesome. Michelle is awesome, and Autumn is awesome. They're just that's the thing, and that's what we're talking about here. And even this, it's just it's wonderful. You know, we all basically have the same ethics and morals and ideas, and that's the thing Renee and I were talking about with this. It's like everyone pretty safe to say likes the same things and certainly hates the same things, and that's a good. You know, those are good boundaries, you know, like people that you want to associate with, that you know that they're not going to be too negative or too toxic or try to bring people down, you know.
Yeah, I think you can kind of tell too, based on who people hang out with and stuff. So, you know, if I'm like, okay, they're friends with Amanda Blackman, or they're friends with Tom Cheshire, or, you know, Kelly Hester, I'm like, okay, I trust their judgment.
Good
you know,
people.
if you're friends with them,
right?
Then they're probably good people. So
yeah, did you ever hear that when you were younger, Renee? When you were a kid, it's like you're guilty by association, because I did.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And it's like, man, because I definitely had some wonderful friends, but I also had some bad friends, and then I myself certainly got into a lot of trouble in my teenage years. I mean, I remember at one point my dad even saying to me, if I could talk to some of your friends' parents, I would tell them to say, do not hang out with my son. And I remember being like, what, Pops, you really going there? That's not cool. yeah. But I straightened out.
Yeah, like you become, you know, they say like you are what you eat. You are who your friend because they have such influence. Like the people that we're spending the most of our time with, that goes inside of us. That's why it's so important to have positive people who really want to nurture and foster your dreams. This is interesting. The most controversial topic that I tackle on this network and also on my TikTok and stuff like that is not any of the political things. It's not any of the things you would think. The thing that I get the most hate mail for is when I say go for your dreams. People get freaked out because if they haven't been, a lot of people have immersed themselves in with the wrong people who hold them back. And then they get older and older. They realize they're not going to do their dreams. So they need to be able to justify it somehow, but they're wounded. So they lash out at anybody who says something positive. There's a lot of people who are hurting so much that when you say something positive to them, they scratch you. They don't want to be reminded of good things. They're hurting. So those type of people, I always tell people that because I want people to know, like, be very careful with who you allow into your life because they will influence you.
I love that. Yeah. So because we really are, from a young age, we're products of our environment for sure. And if you hear someone in their routine, in their way of life, the way they handle things, whether it's they walk out on something, they're abusive towards something, they quit something, but they blame everyone else. How long is it going to be before you start doing that?
Yep, exactly.
I mean, it's to me, it's a no-brainer. It's going to happen,
Absolutely, it happens. And the thing is like we always talked about this before, Tom, but if you want to be rock and roll, if you want to be punk rock, if you want to be subversive and controversial, be positive. Be positive. That freaks out the meanies. That freaks out the bad folks. They cannot that annoys the crap out of them, So if you're going to be rude and you want to be judgmental and mean, trust me, you're not breaking any barriers. You're not being controversial at all.
Right. Yeah, I love, listen, cliches, whatever you want to call them, sayings, cliches, they are what they are for a reason. Like Rome wasn't built in a day, whatever. Because 99% of the time, they're these true statements, and I love that. And I'm also a nerd, and I love repeating.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, so I love the saying, the best revenge is living well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, yeah, have I wanted to get back at someone that's done me wrong? Yes. And then later on, I'm like, what am I, a kid? This is ridiculous. I don't need to be doing this. Why don't I go out there and kill it and show them that they made a mistake by not investing in me or whatever, whatever my problem was with them. You know what I mean? And it might have been, and also I may also mature during that time while I'm succeeding and realize, well, actually they made a good call. I probably wasn't the right person for that fit or whatever I was trying to do then anyway, because we need to allow ourselves to forgive ourselves and then grow and mature and just get rich in our brains.
Well, I think also, you said that, I got let go from a job. I was probably, 22, 23, somewhere in there. And it wasn't the right fit, but I think it really hurts our ego.
Right.
If we're let go, we're like, but it's me, why you let me go? But if you keep a positive attitude and keep going forward to what you actually want, it will lead to where you need to be. Because I look back, I was working for like a fire extinguisher company, installing fire suppression systems and stuff, and hoods in restaurants and stuff.
Right.
And that was just not for me, but I was doing it because it was a job. And if I fast forward 20 years later and I'm still doing that, I'm probably not happy at all. So I just try to take those things with a grain of salt and move on and stay positive and go after what you really want.
Yeah, that's good. Well, the other thing is I'm a big fan of having a little bit of superstitious thoughts. I'm a big fan of realizing that I'll allow the belief of a little bit of fate. I think things happen for a reason, meaning, the world shut down. I left New York. I went back to Atlanta. I reconnected on so many levels of love that I can't even talk about on this show, but it rejuvenated me, it rebuilt me, it recharged the batteries in me that were dead, which were some sadness and in my heart and my gut, and I realized that all those things were supposed to happen, and part of that was meeting this partner of mine on this show, Renee Yaworski. And then later on, that led to meeting my man right here, Rick Ammerman, and meeting Amanda Blackman, and meeting Jesse Seipel, and it's just like, and that's the thing. It's like, what am I going to do? Like, if you want to spend time in therapy going, I wish, I wonder if, I woulda, I shoulda, you're going to spend your whole life sad. How about just saying, yo, this is where I'm at. These are the cards, and look at the cool shit that happened. Now let's move forward.
Absolutely. I mean, that's I think everything we stand for in a nutshell is, and that leads to moving forward. And I always tell people, like, people think that wealth or money is the answer to success. But again, talking about health and longevity, actually people are our most valuable resource. So invest in people. The people that invest in you appreciate that. Try to really, don't burn all these bridges all the time. Try to just have healthy, positive relationships, because it will make a difference in your life, and it will, a rising tide lifts all ships. So someone you know and love, investing in them and having them be successful always looks good on you. That's how I feel.
Well, not to brag about where I'm at these days, but I was in the ocean the other day drinking a Mai Tai with an umbrella.
I love that photo that I saw.
With this very talented engineer, shout out Eric, and we were chatting, and I was telling him about this conversation we've been having, and I mentioned to him, I go, loosely based, every religion, it all should come down to whether you want to call it Jesus rule or the golden rule, and treat your neighbor, treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
And he goes, fuck that. He goes, be nice and treat your neighbor the way they want to be treated, and make them think about it. Like, treat them so well so that they're going to want to do the same to their neighbor. And I was like, actually, I never even said it that way. We always say we want to treat people the way we want to be treated. No, treat people the way they want to be treated. Respect them that much. And hopefully they will do that for the person right next to them.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I just wanted to say too, just that positive energy is infectious, because ever since I discovered this show, I want to watch it every Monday night now. I'm like 8:00 Central Time. I have to be on Cosmos Creative TV because I've got to catch Burn It Down. So keep that positive energy going, because it helps.
Man, I love it, Rick. Man, look at Rick. First of all, look at this. You can't go to any back alley in Washington D.C. and buy a drug this good. Look at us smiling right now. Like, this is the endorphins. Look how high we are at this.
Absolutely.
And it's a school night. And last week was my first show on when we had Jesse, and I broke all kinds of rules. I was drinking Coronas. Tonight, I just had a 7-Up. I'm drinking water. I think Rick might have had a beer to calm his nerves. These are Monday nights. I take what I do seriously. I gotta get up in like 5 hours. So I no drinks tonight. But I absolutely love this. Rick, you and I are going to be texting, because we're going to meet up probably around the holidays and just hang, because I love hanging out with you. And please give our best to your family. Thank you for paying it forward, because Renee and I, trust me, that doesn't go unnoticed. We see you tagging and telling people to watch our show.
It means a lot. It really does.
Because, even with me playing music, I've been playing music a long time, and I've had some good years and it doesn't matter. I just playing music is so rewarding, and I love it. But we still joke around. We go, we'll take it one fan at a time. One fan at a time. You get them, and the idea is to keep them, and keep them coming back and hearing your songs and watching Burn It Down and watching our show and being involved in the positive conversation.
Yeah, you definitely made a fan in me. So you can expect to see in the little chat thing on Monday night. You'll be seeing me typing away and commenting. So, well,
the cool thing is, and I mentioned this in the intro, you really have. You've been behind the scenes. Oh, by the way, I've had a great conversation on the phone, and Renee knows I'm not good. I actually get anxiety talking on the phone. But last night I spoke to our brother Dan Falkenthal, who is doing great.
Love Dan.
I think in about a month we're going to have him on here because he and you, Rick, have been very instrumental with sending me ideas to bring to Renee regarding these conversations. Because in this day and age, we're all in this together in any kind of weather, and we don't want to see anyone fail or be sad or depressed.
Right.
We just want to build people up, and you reaching out, man, meant so much, and it really has changed. I love how loose the show has become, like loose, and it's what I wanted it to become from the beginning. But unbeknownst to me, I didn't know what I wanted to become. But I wanted to be just this beautiful conversation, the furthest thing from an interview.
Yeah, I watched that episode that you did with Dan a couple months ago, and he's an impressive guy. And I think he's in his late 20s or something. He seems wise beyond his years.
He is, and he carries a lot of responsibility with those young years, because he acts as, in many ways, as a therapist and social worker to some music communities. And I'm like, dude, maybe every once in a while you need to step away.
Right.
For you, and we talked about that. I think I think it was Rick Rubin that said it in one of those interviews recently, where he said, you hear in a plane, you took the mask, you take care of the women and the children.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, take care of you so you can breathe, so then you can take care of your loved ones.
Right.
And I could be getting this whole thing completely wrong. So,
no, it's the oxygen mask. Like, make sure, like caregivers, like say to caregivers, make sure you're doing okay. Yeah.
Right. So, and the thing is so we need to realize, so some people who are selfish and cruel and not nice people, well, those people will see you in hell. No, but there's nothing wrong with being selfish to love. Like, I have people that I take care of, and I lose sleep over them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm useless to them if I wind up dying tomorrow because
Exactly.
I've got no sleep,
Thank you.
we need to look after each other. This is such a wonderful episode. And Rick, you're such a wonderful dude, man. I'm so glad we've become friends, man.
Me too. I'm really happy. I went, that was one of those things where I kind of stepped out in faith or whatever, went to Asheville and bumped into you. If I wouldn't have gone to that show, I probably wouldn't have met you, maybe ever, So I'm glad I went to that and met you, and Amanda, kind of introduced us and everything.
Oh, she's the best. Shout out Amanda. I'm such a big fan of hers. What we really need to do is sometime around the fall, around Thanksgiving, just rent like a VFW hall and just have a big party and invite all these beautiful people.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That we connected with over the years, put on put on Queen, We Will Rock You, and just start doing it. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. I watched it about once a month and cry. It's amazing. The Queen movie. So this is one last thing. It's a positive thing to leave on, because I'm guilty of this myself. I talked to it about my brother Scott, and we're always trying to figure out what went wrong or how things went growing up, and what if? And I talk about those what ifs, and you realize how much time you spend in what if, oh my goodness, you know what you could have done during that time? You could have started another podcast. You could have wrote another album, How about celebrating the things like, well, if I didn't, you realize if I never moved to Atlanta the first time in the 90s, none of this would be happening. Mm-hmm. So like the fact that I was a troubled youth in New York City, and my parents were in Atlanta, and I moved to Atlanta twice to try to straighten out my life. And then I met some of these people you both know, guys that now I've been playing music with and I've been in business with for almost 30 years. That's the stuff I should be celebrating.
Right.
The fact that I came to Atlanta again in 2023 because New York City looked like 12 monkeys. I mean, literally, they were shutting it down. Everyone had masks on. And I was fearful. And my sister was like, if you don't get out now, maybe you won't be able to get out. Like that's what the next word was. They would be letting people leave, Mm-hmm. And if I didn't come, then we wouldn't have formed these one of my houses and the SDFs and then the CCTV lands. And then I wouldn't have met my brother Rory Penland and Sandy D and Jay and Renee Jaworski, and I wouldn't have reconnected with my brother Lars Nagel. And then there's guys in Athens like Bob Ross and Charlie Tanson. Nagel, I want a bagel. Do you know what I'm saying? And so it's so instead of spending this time, which by the way, it's a lose-lose, thinking about, what if? I mean, I could have done, I could have been a contender, I could have done this, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But no, wait a minute. that me having that flat tire that day
Mhm.
made me miss that flight, but then I took the bus and then I met these people. That's the stuff we need to be celebrating. So Rick, you go into that show, boom, us connecting. And now look at you, you're making your first TV appearance and you hit it out of the park, a grand slam. New York Mets grand slam, man.
That's right.
I'm a kid from Queens. Yes.
Well, I appreciate it. You guys made it easy on me. So I just hung out. So I appreciate y'all kind of taking the pressure off me. I just got to hang out and watch y'all lead it. So
No, man, everything you said, I appreciate your points, and I appreciate you telling us about you reaching out to people, because you're reminding our viewers that we're all in this together, and everyone should be doing that. Everyone needs to be reaching out to each other.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's important, and I think you said it best. Any great success stories happen because of a backing team and a great crew, a great, whatever you want to call it, a family, a tribe, whatever, who has their back. And, the best situations, the best success stories always comes from hearing of wonderful people in the background helping out.
totally agree.
Yeah, and you know what, Rick? We have some of the highest viewership we've ever had for this show. So I can tell a lot of your fans are here. You got a lot of your fans here.
Hey,
People are loving it.
Well, so this is the thing I need to tell everybody. So Rick is part of
Rick
the
is
show.
killing it, man.
Rick is part of the show. He hits me up with ideas. So yes, you see him tonight. You may see him again next month or in 5 or 6 weeks. We're going to have him on regularly.
Come on back.
And
Come on.
hopefully Dan will be doing that as well. A dream table would be when Dan's in a good place,
Yeah.
the four of us talking once, because
Mm.
that's the idea of the positive party. It's us, bringing up just everyday things. And then Renee and I and you will see these comments later. We will get back to these folks and we'll bring up these things that people bring up.
That's right. I'm so excited. This show is saving lives. Punk rock saves lives. Burn It Down saves lives.
Yes, I am so
true.
excited. I'm so excited that I just can't hide it. I'm gonna have a hard time sleeping. It's like I feel like one of the Pointer Sisters right now.
Me too.
Well, I'm rocking my Joe Strummer shirt.
Yeah.
And this guy's rocking his Mets shirt. Renee, you look amazing as always.
Thank you.
And it's I'm going to tell you, Renee Jaworski, what my friend Marlo Sanchez said to me. Actually, I'm going to say it to Rick Ammerman as well, because it's a wonderful thing to say. I'm going to tell you what my friend Marlo Sanchez said to me. It's because both of you. It's easy being your friend.
It's a pleasure, and it's easy to be your friend, Tom. That's for damn sure. And you too, Rick. That's right. Rick is my new friend.
Man,
Yes.
Listen, everyone have a great time. And thank you for watching. We'll see you guys next Monday night. I'm excited. We got a new person on next week, Jay Crash, who runs a really cool label/metal management company called Terminus Hate City. But he's the furthest thing from hateful. He's beautiful and so positive. And Renee, I want you to chat with him as well. Jay Crash. And man, I just love that there were a few months ago, I wasn't in a good place and I thought about hanging up the show. And Renee goes, no, we're this close. We're really building people up, Tom. Hang in there. And I'm so glad we did.
I'm so glad we did too. And I always tell young people or old people or anywhere in between, okay? Whenever people say to me they're having a hard time, they want to give up, I always tell them, please just wait. Because life is always like that. Life is always like that. Literally just wait it out. It's like Texas weather. You don't like it, just wait. It's going to change. So please, people, if you can do nothing else, if you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders and you are done, you're done. Can you just wait? Just wait. Because things change. They always change.
Listen, I want to give a shout out to my man Manny, who we need to have on, because I
Manny
love this
Zamora,
guy.
the man
Manny,
Sam.
hi Manny, we're gonna get Manny. And our brother Rory, I know he's spending some personal time with his family, which he is very important. He's being selfish for him. He's taking care of his family. But we want to have Rory back on. But the cool thing is Rory's gonna be proud of me because we went overtime. You guys, one love, much love, burn it down, and we'll see you guys soon.
Enjoyed it, y'all.